Stretch yourself in. Always like that. I always like that.
Antes del hotel es que tú te querías meter o algo, estaría ahí. ¿Qué hacemos? ¿Continuamos por este camino y no cruzamos el por era curioso también.
You should go down to the big now. You should go down there.
It's really weird.
design's got a problem.
Above London on the world's largest observational unit. If at any point during the flight you require assistance, please press the emergency button located on either side of the capsule. This can be found clearly marked above the glass. We hope you enjoy the amazing panoramic view.
It's like hard to figure out what I took pictures of exactly.
No, that's the chicken on my side. That was the house.
Where?
Yeah, they're on the top.
Be on your guard. Above all, remain calm. I sense a disturbance in the fort.
I sense it too, Master.
Quick, get Hannibal. Over to the other wall.
Hannibal,
Very
Did
slow.
I? Came to meet your destiny.
Dark sins.
Yes.
You will not sway these young ones to the dark side. You will not defeat them.
You underestimate the power of the dark side of the Force. I look forward to meeting this meeting. In time, they will unfold me. Master.
You're gravely mistaken.
Oh, really?
Yes. Your overconfidence is your weakness.
Your faith in these puny little Padawans is yours. Young, foolish Jedi. You are no match for the power of the dark side. Lord Vader, destroy them.
Right. It's a bit bigger than I remembered, actually. Maybe if you come forward one at a time. Execute those moves I taught you. It's probably the best.
Indeed. Show no mercy, Lord Vader.
Yes. Okay. Just go. Right. It's my best. And right. Down. And left once more. Hey, and right. Down. Left once more. Now hold your hand up and use the force.
Hands up! Go forward, Jesus!
We think, Jedi, the dark side is more powerful than you can possibly fathom.
Oh, my word. We need all your help. They're far too strong. Can you all hold your hands up for us?
Master, right. Everybody keep your hands.
Go ahead.
2, 1, and fire! Keep pushing!
Next time, Jedi, you shall reach your destiny.
Hold on, my word.
Yes!
Give yourselves a big hand.
and a shaft of sunlight came onto the tomb, lit up the area he'd been polishing, and reflected on the floor was the image of a man, half a man, half a head, one arm, one leg. Only half the man is here, because only half the ghost is here, because only half the man is here. The other half apparently hops around the stock exchange near the Bank of England. We're going to that later on, but that's the ghost of Miles Coverdale. Sometimes he's seen like that, reflected on the floor, or a pattern comes through a window and he's seen again on the floor, or the figure of a man dressed in a black hood is seen going along the archway and then walking straight through the door of the church, even though it's closed. So Miles comes back to his old parish church. Okay, let's see the new London Bridge next. As the left and right, where tea, coffee, butter, sugar was offloaded, and even fish. You see the fish market just here on the left, the golden fish, that's Billingsgate. There was a fish market there for about 1,000 years. That closed down 30 years ago. It's now a party venue. So shareholders, directors go in there and waste all their company's money drinking champagne and dancing to strange music. But this building, designed by an unemployed window cleaner, is part of the Northern Shell Group. This is where they used to offload fish originally. A young man offloading fish here in the 1950s, his name was Maurice Micklewhite, otherwise known as Michael Caine, the actor. He started out by being a fish market porter here. Now the only great ship we have is the Belfast. You see the World War II cruiser there, and that saw service in the Second World War and the Korean War as well. Now the bridge was designed, Tower Bridge, was designed to allow ships in, but also to allow workers to walk up one tower, along the walkway, down the next tower, and then into the City of London, because these were going up and down about 20 times every day. These days, it's about 200 times a year, that's all. But there was a policeman walking along the roadway there in the 1920s, and he paused by the central part of the bascule, and he suddenly saw a black shape disappear right the way down like that, arms and legs and everything else, but there was no splash in the water. That's very strange. Then saw another shape coming from the other side, again hands and arms and legs waving down, and nothing at all. It's very odd. He looked down at the river for a few seconds, then looked up and saw hundreds of these shapes coming off that walkway. This was known as Suicide's Walk, because people would commit suicide off that walkway. So it's believed he was seeing the souls of suicides making their final journey yet again. Now as a result of that problem, they covered it over. You can't commit suicide from that part. People commit suicide from the lower part. They still do, I'm afraid. So about 80 people on average jump off Tower Bridge. The river is very tidal. It goes up and down twice a day. So it takes about 6.5 hours to fill up and then 7.5 to go out twice a day. In and out continually. It looks dirty, but it's very clean. A lot of fish in the river. You might recall 3 years ago a whale got lost. It started to swim up the River Thames and started hitting various bridges, and the poor old thing died. There's a lot of fish here. Now when people arrive here, they think that is London Bridge, because it's so famous, but this is London Bridge here. This is London Bridge number 5. Let's take a look. Unfortunately, this woman did not arrive, and we'd had a very dry summer, and there were houses full of things like candles, oil, coal, tar, rope. The city was ready to go. And an easterly wind caught the fire, and it destroyed the city completely. And the fire started in Pudding Lane and stopped at Pie Corner. People said this fire has gone from pudding to pie, and it's the sin of gluttony or greed that has eaten up the sinful city of London. Don't forget, the year the fire took place was 1666. The number 666 was the number of the beast in the Bible, so it's thought to be a judgment on the sinful city of London. And the year before had seen Halley's Comet as well, so it's all an evil omen. And they blamed everybody but the English. They tried to kill a Dutchman. They said he'd started it. A French crazy man, a lunatic, said he'd started it, so they hanged him. Very convenient. Even the wind which caught the fire was called Belgium. So they come from the east. You see anyone about the English? They finally had a bit of responsibility in the 1960s. Okay, we did it. The place just up there. But now Wren had this monument designed in order to commemorate the disaster, because this was the busy street in London, and his first idea was to have tongues of flame coming out of the column and a statue of King Charles II on the top. And the king looked at the plan and said, just a minute, he said, history will think I started the fire, just put some fire up there. That's why that's just a vase of fire. And as you can see, they're going to clean up the whole thing. So in a year or so's time, that'll be completely clean. It'll be great. Now, only 5 people died in the fire. Most people got out in the fire. But Many on the side in the disaster far, far greater. Not the Great Fire, but the Great what? And they sort of wind everywhere. After the Great Fire, they rebuilt on the old street pattern. So it's still an old medieval street pattern. And I can see this gutter here. All manner of rubbish was thrown out of the windows onto the street. And the hope that rain would wash everything down to the river. Before the Great Fire, there were only 7 street cleaners for a city of 400,000 people. Just 7 men to clean the streets, called the rakers. Didn't like spending money on sanitation. I mean, you could pay for your daily doings to be taken away, your night's soil by the gong man. If you wanted to save money, you just chuck everything out the window. And of course, the rats of London had the most amazing time. Rats were thought to be completely harmless. People have got no idea that Pasteurella pestis, the bubonic plague, is carried on the fleas with the rats. And the ring of roses would appear upon your chest. And the boo-boos, the swellings, would appear under the arms. And doctors would recommend that you put dried herbs and flowers down your breeches to ward off the plague. This was the pocket full of posies, and then a tissue, we all fall down. And your house might be visited by plague searchers. These are women dressed in white. If they are paid for by the corporation, if they found somebody infected, they would close the house against all comers and write, "Lord, have mercy on us above." And the dead cart would come through the streets at night, the man ringing his bell, calling, "Bring out your dead! Bring out your dead!" And I'm afraid people did not get up and say, "Oh, I'm not yet dead, don't do that." Anyway, once a carter came round here and he could see a man slumped against the wall. He had a great big swelling just by his legs there. Oh, he's another poor soul. Picked him up, put him in the cart, rode off to the east to Aldgate, took away the pins of the cart, all the bodies cascaded down into the grave. He threw lime over the bodies and started to ride away, and he heard, "My God, what's this? Some poor soul still alive, pulling the bodies aside." The wailing got even louder. The man with the swelling stood up. He was a drunken bagpipe that must have stopped playing a bit. Yes, so he actually survived the plague. But 110,000 people died of pestilence. That was the quarter of the entire population. 25% of the population wiped out by plague. When the fire came, it virtually sterilised the city of London. The plague never came to us in the same way. Now, leading you a bit further north, we're going to stand on what was a great shopping street for medieval London, just up here. Gherkin or the Crystal Palace, that one, take the name. Well, that is Swiss Re. Re means reinsurance. We have insurance and reinsurance. There's even reinsurance too. But twice for good news and once for bad. And it rang out on its own in the old building in 1963 on the 3rd of September, and a ship had been lost off the coast of South America, the loss of all hands. So the legend has it, the lutein bell is cry and anguish perplexed to the troubled parents. Why? Well, one, yes, because this indicates we are in the city of London. These are the guardians of the city. Wherever in the city of London, you see these dragons everywhere. Now, this was being dug, a foundation was being dug in the 1870s. A group of Irish workers were digging away, and one of them, a man called Harvey, suddenly fell over. Oh! They said, "What is it?" They said, "I could hear my name called out." Somebody said Harvey, and I fell over, and I hurt my hand. Looked up, it was a great big mark across his hand. So people said, "No, you're crazy, you're working on your own." And we carried on digging. About 5 minutes later, "Oh!" He said, "What is it? I heard my name called out again. Somebody said Harvey, and I felt the pain again." There were 2 red marks across his hand. He said, "Come on, you're working on your own." He carried on digging what's been happening, and he found about 3 feet below this a shoe. Lifted up the shoe, turned them over, and there were 2 wooden slats on the bottom of the shoe, and it made exactly the same mark on his hand. It was a Roman sandal. Now it's believed he'd heard not his name, Harvey, but Ave, or hail, or greeting, in Latin, and felt the pressure of the Roman shoe. So where we're standing, this was the Roman market, called the Forum, a very large building, 120 feet across and 300 feet long. And they found 43 Roman gold coins a few years ago with emperors' heads on them. And some years ago they discovered the body of a Roman princess in her coffin with her hand upon her heart. That's a Christian sign, a Christian burial, and the funeral wreath behind her head and a perfume bottle. Whenever you want to dig for a new building, you must pay the museum, and the Museum of London, you pay them the archaeology service, they find what they can, then they pour the concrete. Now I said Harry Potter, kind of jokingly, but this in fact is the start of Diagon Alley. So this is the Harry Potter films. Harry and Hagrid walk around here, they turn the corner, they're in the leaky quarter. So this is the opening shot of that particular section. Okay, so Harry Potter is filmed here from time to time. We're going to go down the avenue, we're going to cross over the main street. So I came back to the alley and I heard the organ music again. And I thought, we'll go around to the vestry door, see if it's, I can get down that way, see if I can touch it. As I touched the door, the music stopped again. Perhaps I'm just hearing things. So I spoke to Graham about this. Graham is our senior ghost ward. We've worked for many, many years. He said, "You've heard it." I said, "Heard what?" He said, "There was a young boy here. We're talking 1840s, and he was the son of the organist. He was only 14, and he died quite young. And he would always practice, but he was nervous about people getting too close. He hears footsteps and stops playing. I've heard this twice. Once on my own. The second time, 25 people. We've all heard this. Something in this. Now this church, the Church of St. Michael, was built by Wren and finished off by his pupil Nicholas Hawksmoor. Hawksmoor was a strange man, interested in all kinds of different religions, not only Christianity, but other things as well. And the legend has under each of the towers, under each of the foundations of the towers, lies innocent blood. A young boy or a girl was murdered and their body placed underneath the tower. Now Hawksmoor was told to build several churches. One he never completed. If you take a map of London and you draw a line between all of Hawksmoor's towers and the churches, it almost forms a pentagram, a magic star. There's one bit incomplete. Guess what would happen had he completed that particular church? Most strange. There's another story attached to the church. It's an Old English. It comes from a man called Stowe, who was a historian. And he wrote a story of men who were practicing bell ringing in the church one night. And I'll give you the account. It goes like this. Upon St. James's night, certain men in the loft, next under the bells, are ringing of appeal. A tempest of thunder and lightning does arise, and an ugly shape and sight appeared to them, coming into the south window and alighted from the north. And for fear, they all fell down for the time, letting the bells ring of their own accord. And when they came to themselves, they found certain stones of the north window to be raised and scratched, as if they had been butter printed with lion's claws. Believe none other than the devil himself sat upon the church and left his mark in it. Now, as a result of this story, if you walk along this street called Cornhill, you'll find just beside the church are three devils leaning out into the street. It's called the Unholy Trinity. Up we went. There in the room was the gentleman's body, quite clearly dead. Beside him, on the bedside table, was a picture of a woman. It was the face of the woman who had brought him in the taxi the day before. He said, "Sorry, who's that?" He said, "That? Oh, that's the master's wife, sir. She died 10 years ago." She came back. Anyway. The main part of the building dates from 1441, so it's about 550 years old. That's that part of the building there. You can see I will now guide you towards transport round the corner. Thank you very much for coming tonight. I hope to see you again soon. And have you all got, thank you, okay. And have you got propaganda? Yes, most important. You've got that? Okay.
happening? A copy of this and this. I've got 50 album. Yeah, it's not even like that.